gathers data of whatever happens in church on weekly basis. Very detailed data. And when you want to check the health of a man, you gather data. I should excuse you. You have a party this morning? I told Mama yesterday we need to do certification for event coordination. I think she should be awarded PhD in event coordination. She's gotten so good at it that it's amazing how she does what she does. So, if you want to check the health of a man, thank you, sir. You collect data. And you get to the hospital, or maybe you just regular at home. You take the vital signs. You get the blood pressure. Get the data of the blood pressure, the temperature, the pulse, all EMI. All these are numbers. All these are numbers, and this number speaks to the state of health of the person. So there is need for us to pay attention to the act of gathering data in the church, in our organization, for us to know the state of health of the organization. If we don't have data, we cannot effectively access and assess the assessment, can effectively access the data that will help us make assessment of how we are doing. And without appropriate assessment of how we are doing, we may not be able to make informed decisions. We may not be able to take actions that will become productive at the end of the day. So I would like for us to focus on that culture of data gathering, at all levels. For instance, the just concluded semester, each life group leader is supposed to submit a report on a weekly basis of how many people attended, how many first-time visitors, if there were any, how many prayer points or what prayer point, how much, offering was collected, and so on and so forth. All this data will help us. For instance, if we have that from every life group meeting, we can easily tell what percentage of the church is actively involved in the life group program, as at now. But if we don't have that data, it's very difficult for us to know that. I know that the head of divisions were supposed to submit reports to you. Do you have all that? Head of division, any head of division here, how was report submission from your downline this last semester? Was it what you expected? Was the report, did they come in as expected from each life group this past semester? Yes? Yeah. Yes. Okay. Okay, but they did not submit on weekly basis. Did that? Okay, any other head of division here that wants to give report of what submission last semester? Yes, sir. Okay. Okay. We, as a people, we don't like it generally. As a people, black or African descent or something. Record keeping is not just part of our culture, and it is a very needful culture to develop. And that is where I'm going. Even, where's our usher? Any usher here? No usher? You're part of the ushering group? Yeah, I get attendance record. I see it every Sunday. Yeah. But is it actual? Yeah, I mean, that's the pattern since the day of Adam, Adam and Eve. I'll find out from ushering department. If they do that, well, they have the click, then I think we should give them an award. Because every Sunday we get the record of attendance. Men, women, children, every Sunday. And count. So if you want to know how many people sat in service since this church started, we can get that. And that's where we need to be in every group and every department. The receive team, for instance, how many visitors comes in, how many of them became members and all of that. I project that to you every month as they submit it. So we need such data to be able to know how we are doing and where we need to improve. So I want us to develop that culture as a church. John 15:1-2 says, I am the true vine, and my Father is the husbandman. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away, and every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit. Without data, we cannot actualize this scripture. And it's a principle of success. Every branch in me that beareth not fruit, he taketh away. And every branch that beareth fruit, he purgeth it, that it may bring forth more fruit. How do we know which branch is bringing fruit without data? We need to know how each branch is doing, how each program is doing, how each initiative is doing, so that we know what program to cut off, what program to adjust, what new program to start. If we don't have data, we cannot determine this. And if we don't do this kind of purging and taking away, we cannot improve. It's very important. How many CDs are sold per Sunday? Such data, we need it. How many people log in online per Sunday? Each data, we need it. How many people call in during the week for one thing or the other? Such data. Each program we do, how many visitors came for that program? and then how much did we invest into that program. We have that data, we can compare it with another program and see what kind of program gives us better result than the other, and we know what kind of programs to shut down and what kind of program to continue. So track the data, detailed data, so that you can inspect the health. Where there is health, there will be growth. So let's develop the culture of tracking data. He also said demand higher level of commitment and standard. Position people in the area of their strength. All of these decisions cannot be taken. All of these steps cannot be taken without data. How do you know? How do you know these things if there are no data to back up, or to analyze? So that's why data gathering is very key for us this time. Be brave enough to prune the system and reposition people without emotion. Jonah's story. So we cannot, to prune the system and reposition people without emotion, you need data to back up your decision. Otherwise, actions may actually be emotional or sentimental, or maybe construed to be emotional or sentimental. But if there are data to back up such decision, you can see that nobody argues with data. This is what this program is producing, and it's not productive. So we're going to shut it down. And nobody would think that they're shutting it down because, I initiated it, or, maybe somebody doesn't like me or anything like that. So result is what we need. Data is what we need to make informed decision, objective decision, productive decision, constructive decision, positive decision. And we need to cultivate that culture. So we'll be placing that demand on us as we move forward. And I want us to know where this is coming from. And I want, all of us to, embrace this culture, and let's spread it, down the line. Myself and resident pastor were talking about midweek service sometimes ago. We're trying to look at the pro and con of having, live midweek service or virtual midweek service and all that. So what we did was we looked at numbers of people that came for midweek service 2 Wednesdays consistently that time. And then we said, let's see what's going to happen to virtual, Bible study if we do that. So I think we started Friday's prayer meeting or something. Yeah, started Friday prayer meeting. And we look at how many people were here on Friday to pray. And then when we did online, how many people were there online. The same thing with Wednesday Bible study. The first one we did, I think Bosse said we had up to 45 people online at a point. And I can't remember when last 45 people showed up here for Bible studies on Wednesday. So you see, instead of arguing, out of sentiment or personal opinion, or data will just speak, and be able to tell you what can work better, what may not work better. That's a good example. So we need to, embrace this culture. And, leadership is by example. So look at what aspect of your responsibility where you need to start gathering data. And let's, start doing that effectively. We are going to, next semester, by next month, what do we need to change? What do we need to adjust in the life group system that will make it work better? We need report. We need data to back up our decisions. I think we are meeting When are we meeting, sir? The head of division. Tomorrow at 8 p.m. Okay, so that will be a clash right there. All right, so tomorrow at 8 p.m., what we want to do is to actually discuss the first. We've had trial semester, we had first semester. What worked, what didn't work, what do we need to adjust? Who do we need to change? You know, life group leaders that were not effective trial semester, were not effective first semester. We don't need to keep such life group leader. Maybe that's not their area of strength. Maybe that's not what they are good at, you know. And then we look at, you know, where they are good at and what they have passion for, and just make adjustment like that. Zonal coordinators, some needs to be changed, you know, and so on and so forth. So these are the kind of objective review we want to make. Receive division data. Receive division. Division. Is it receive division? Is that the name of the division actually? Division 2. Okay, so yeah, that's your division. The reason why I bring this up is actually our preparation for Easter Sunday that is coming. We're doing something different as far as, you know, publicity is concerned. We're mailing out about 2,000 flyers within 1 mile radius of the church, and then we're bringing about 3,000 flyers to church that all of us will go and distribute. We just found a cheap way of printing flyers. The cost of printing 2,000 and the cost of printing 5,000 is about $45, you know, difference. So we said, instead of printing just 2,000, then just print 5,000. We'll just add $45 to it, and then mail 3,000 to church. We'll go and distribute it. So, in essence, I'm just saying as far as data collection and all of that is, we need to be a little bit more prepared. You know, we will pray and believe God that effort will bring result, that more people will show up for Easter weekend this year more than, you know, the past few years. But we need to be ready, you know, to receive them. The Saturday event, which will be, you know, outside. We as leaders, we need to expect, you know, neighbors to come, and we need to engage them. You know, somebody needs to let us know how many people showed up that day. Men, women, children, youth, and so on. A head count of, you know, invited guests should, you know, be gathered. And then we should be available to engage them one-on-one, so that we're not just there enjoying ourselves, moving around and chatting with one another, things like that. So appropriate follow-up for those who will show up that day. How do we gather some information, necessary information about them, you know, on Saturday, because some of them may not show up on Sunday. Let's start thinking about things like this. How do we connect with them after that visitation on Saturday? And of course, those who will come on Sunday, we know we have our process in place to collect information from them. But on Saturday, how do we do that? These are some of the things we need to start thinking about. And of course, Easter program, you know, like I said, we are, you know, being a little bit aggressive this year to make sure that we draw traffic. On, I think next Saturday, we want to come out massively to come and distribute flyers. We'll have about 3,000 flyers that will be delivered. On Sunday, we want to give flyer to members of the church. Let everybody just take some, put it in your car. Everywhere you go, give it out, and so on and so forth. And then all groups and departments on Sunday, please, let's try to be on top of our game, put our best foot forward, believing God that those people we reach out to will show up in church. We want to do our best to take advantage of that period. Now, Belt Service, the business, entrepreneurship, and leadership training service. We want to finalize our discussion about that. I want to call a meeting of all businessmen and women and those who intend to start business in the church, so that we have a meeting and discuss what will we be looking forward to in such a service. What do we expect to get? What are our challenges? How can we do better in having a business of our own, running a business of our own? We want to appreciate what the Christ ambassadors are doing. Brother Charles and the president of the Men Fellowship and Leadership. The initiative they came up with, I think they did a class already some times ago, and I was encouraging them to follow up with those who attended to make sure that we achieve result. It's not just training and then it ends like that. How many people attended? How many people started? How many people finished? Why the big difference? Out of those who finished, how many people got a job eventually? Things like that. Data will speak. And then they've started another one yesterday, I think, on project management. How many people were online now? That facilitated it. Very good. All right. So such initiatives should lead to, job eventually. So the Belt Service, because my drive for the Belt Service is that I just think that we come into this country, and majority of us, the best we look forward to is to get a job, to get something doing, and then to get a better paying job, and so on and so forth. But there's just how far that can take us. And by the time we begin to change our thought process, our mindset, that begins to change a lot of things. Somebody said, if you reset your mind, the rest of your life will fall in place. So if we begin to think that we can own businesses, we can start our own enterprise, we can begin to hire people to work for us, trust me, we can achieve that. Individually, it may be tough for some of us, but we can collaborate, we can partner and get things done. And we can see people in other other minority groups, they do that effectively well. Some minority group are known for gas station business. Some are known for hotels, car parks. So we can do that. We can do that, and God will help us. So that's the essence of the Belt Service. Now, we talked about best time to hold it. To have it, and we didn't conclude, although I will meet with people concerned. There's an argument for doing it early in the morning before this regular service. And then there's an argument for doing it after this service. Now, the argument for doing it before this service is that most churches in town, their regular service starts around 10, 11, thereabout. And people don't like to wake up early anyways, unless you need unless you're coming for something that is important to you. So that those who are coming, those who need the Belt Service, and they are businessmen like to wake up and get to business, that they can come early in the morning and do it. And some people who need to go to their regular church too can also be a part of it and go to their church. That's the argument for doing it early in the morning. But the argument for doing it after this service is so that our youth who are coming for their service in the afternoon can also be a part of it, because some of them also will be encouraged to look forward to starting a business of their own, creatively, innovatively, startup mentality. A lot of them don't want to work for long. Once they get out of college and get a job, the next thing they are thinking is one innovation or one creative idea they can pursue, and so we want them also to be a part of that service. So we are thinking, and if we do it between this service and their own service, then those who wants to be a part of the business service in this service will just wait extra 1 hour after this service. And those who wants to be a part of it from their own service will just come an hour earlier, and be a part of it. So that's what is going on in the atmosphere. But I want us to probably maybe reach a more conclusive position this morning. How many of you think it should be first? It should come first before this service? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, how many of you, now I know those who don't like our youth. No, I'm just kidding. No, I just want people to laugh. You are too serious. I just wanted you to laugh. Now, how many of you wants it to be in between the two services? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That? So, no, it matters. We just told you why it matters. The argument for and against. So, but either ways, I am thinking that even this leadership, this Sunday leadership meeting, we should take it virtual. Because by 9 a.m. every Sunday, that has been the consistent situation. And I've said everything I know to say. I got upset, I harass, I encourage, but nothing is happening. By 9 a.m. every morning, we are not more than 10 here. And then people will start trickling it, one after the other. And then when it is few minutes to 10, you see the place full. It's not an effective meeting like that. We're not going to. We can operate at excellent level like that. But I think that if it becomes an online, it becomes easier for people to dial in, and we can still have a productive discussion as we're having now, and we can still share PowerPoint as we regularly share here. The only there's the down part to every style. At least when we meet here physically, people are focusing on what we are doing. But online, the tendency for people to be distracted and be doing some other things is there. Yeah, cooking soup and rushing out of shower, or just log in and walk away, and you'll be calling their names and they will not be there. I'm facing this side when I'm talking. All right. So, well, again, nothing is written in stone. We can try it out and see, how it will work, and we can, change back and forth. So, since it looks like we are equally divided on the timing for the belt service, when we meet with the business, the people that actually will be coming, I think we'll be able to finalize at that meeting. Yeah, at least we can see here that, like somebody said, it really doesn't matter, because we seem to be equally divided as to what time we should meet. This meeting I intend to call, man of God, we've not fixed time to it, right? The business committee. explained that too. It's not replacing it, because you're not getting the full, you're not getting, it's a specialized service, so to say. It's a specialized service. So it's not supposed to be a replacement for this or a replacement for the youth service either. The keyword is the word service. Okay, so then I can go. Well, we can we'll look at that and maybe remove the name service and see what we can call it. And somebody is not happy with the belt name. Let me move away from this side so that I'm just facing these people here. Somebody is not happy with the belt part. That is too academic. So we'll look into that also and see what name we can give that will make it more appealing, to people. And then we'll try to maybe remove this service part so that people won't think it's a separate service. All right, JLA 1A and JLA 1B, we started yesterday, and I think about, how many people were there in the morning? Do you remember? Ma? In the morning. In the evening, how many? 20. So 27 in the morning, 20 in the evening. Anybody here that didn't log in yesterday? You've not done GLA 1A or 1B. Okay. When are you planning to do your next Saturday? You didn't get the... Oh, wow. So maybe check her email. If you didn't receive it and you are here, can you, so look at this three bosses. Mama here, Ogami over there, and the General Vizier of the choir department at the back. Check their email to see. You didn't receive it. Yeah, so we'll find out what is wrong. So Jelly 1B will be this Saturday at 9 a.m. and then 9 p.m. And then the other Saturday, the 20th, we'll have both together. This would be probably the last time I will teach Jelly 1A. Next time we're going to do, somebody else will have to do. We have to do it. So please pay attention. Be a part, not just to participate, but to be ready to facilitate. Once I do GLA 1B, somebody else will have to take it over, and then we move on like that. Because by next year, what's going to happen is GLA 1 will be going on, GLA 2 will be going on next year. You understand? Those who will be with us next year that have not taken GLA 1 will have to take it next year. So by next year, you'll see us running GLA 1 and GLA 2. 2021, you will see GLA 1, GLA 2, GLA 3 running concurrently. And then 2022, GLA 1, GLA 2, GLA 3, and 4 will be running concurrently. And by 2024, the 5 Leadership Academy stages will be running concurrently every year continuously. So you can see that it's a lot of work that is upcoming, gradually. So please, let's get involved. That's a division. I think there's a division that handles that. So that division will become very active. So these are some of the things I want us to review today. And then by next Sunday, we can resume back to somebody facilitating for the first 30 minutes. Any comment, any observation, any concern about all what we've talked about this morning? Yes, ma'am. this is still 22, and half of our leaders are not even here yet.
Thank you. With regards to our programs, case
Yes.
in point, the Easter program that is coming up,
Yes.
have we established what we intend to achieve with it? Because we're talking about data, and if we don't determine what the purpose, what we plan to achieve with it, is it like we're looking at numbers of people that are coming in, or we want to affect our community? Because you're talking about data. If we don't establish those things, then there's no way we can actually be able to know if we achieve it at the end of the day or not.
I agree with you absolutely, because that will be the benchmark. Yes, we've discussed that. I mean, that's one question I pose to Average Joe consistently. By the time he comes up with, the program design, my first question to him is, what's the objective? What are we planning to achieve with this one? So it's in focus. Easter generally, one of the major objectives is to draw traffic. We want to draw traffic to the church in the first place. Secondly, the Saturday program is designed, to show our presence in the community, create an awareness. That's why we're having the outside, event and all of that, egg hunt, jumping this and that. We want the community to know that we are here, and people can have, a place they can come and have fun during Easter. I think Joe was telling me that somebody who attended last year or year before actually came to him and said, are you not having this year? I have not gotten my invitation. What's going on? This kind of thing. So, but more importantly, it's a special time in the country that people who ordinarily not go to church will want to come to church. We want to take advantage to draw them. On the spiritual part, we're believing God and we'll prayerfully, pray for an encounter with resurrection power. That's why we are titling, Sunday service, the power of resurrection. So, sir? Yeah, the Sunday part of the Easter service. So that's what our objectives are. I mentioned them in case anybody feels we should set a better objective or add. Yes? Very good. I trust Mama. She's on top of her game. And you are her friend anyway, so support her. Sorry, sir, go ahead.
I was just talking about the belt service.
Yes.
So, if we're going to have, the youth be a part of it, I think that we can incorporate it in the youth service in the afternoon so that they're not in the belt service and also in the youth service. We can kind of streamline it to their own curriculum to, kind of fit into their own, into their own taste and insert it into their own service and then have it early in the morning so that, it doesn't conflict.
Okay, that's a good thought to consider. Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Good morning, sir. I was just thinking about the last community event that we had, that we invited the media and everything. It was successful, but for me personally, looking back, I think it wasn't strategically planned. The media, they were here, and everybody was standing, didn't really know what to do. There were no people to talk to the media or to draw their attention, even to impress our visitors. So planning going forward now, we're going to do the same thing for the Easter. So what are we going to put in place that will make an impression on people that are coming? So they will be affected. They will say, you know what? I want to return to this church again. And not just people standing by looking, and they're not even communicating, with our visitors. So what I would like to see is to actually see something strategic put in place that we can actually impress upon these people coming.
For example, what will you suggest?
Is to have people that are able to know, people that are customer oriented, that they can actually have a dialogue, people that can actually, ready to talk, not people that are,
spiritual,
extrovert,
speaking in tongues,
exactly, yeah.
intimidated.
Exactly. So people that go out there that can easily communicate and talk to people, that they will create impression on these people to come.
Okay, good. Deacon Joe wants to respond. And then my sister over there wants to respond after Deacon. Okay. The professor is in charge, so when they are in charge, you just keep quiet.
Okay. About the data collection. I think collecting data should go beyond just the quantitative level to kind of qualitative. It is true that number matters, so that by the end of the day, we're able to, for instance, know how many participants on an event. But sometimes, especially with the advent of virtual programs, we may not be able to fully measure participation by just counting or just doing quantitative collection of data. For instance, some persons may just participate or may just be present but are not fully participating. But if measures are put in place to get qualitative data, we'll be able to tell when certain people are not participating, and sometimes able to understand why they are not participating. Now, I'm going to use an instance of an interview that I had. There were like 3 persons who were going to interview me. I was like, these people and their many numbers. But by the end of the interview, I got an impression about the company. I started to wonder, why was it only one person that was shooting questions? Like, what was the essence of the other 2 people? Is it like they were scared? Is it like they were not comfortable? So I think qualitative collection of data is also important. Then also, I want to understand why service is an issue. If we say belt service, in my opinion, if it's in the church, we are looking at business in the church, I don't think it's wrong to do it in the form of a service, to talk about it, to talk about business, to talk about leadership from a Christian perspective. In my opinion, I think it's the best, actually, so I don't see anything wrong with the words there.
Thank you so much. Very, very constructive comments, observation. They are well taken. Quantitative and qualitative data will be gathered. Agreed, absolutely. And then with Also noted your comment about the belt service. Thank you, ma'am. Very good. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Brother Martins, for that observation. I think one of the major areas that we have challenges in this church is the area of follow-up. You know, I think I've mentioned this a lot of times. We get a lot of visitors. The problem is not that we're not getting visitors. It's getting people to engage them, getting people to follow, and so on and so forth. And most of us here today, I particularly am here today because somebody followed me up and followed me up properly. So today, for example, we're going to be meeting at the end of the service. We're going to be meeting here to plan. We need more hands. We need a lot of hands. A lot of times when we have programs, we only have a few people who volunteer. So we need people, we need help. So if you are passionate in the area of follow-up, please, Pastor Deborah will be happy to have you. We'll be happy to have you. Thank you so much.
You know, one thing I know is that, you see, when you have an observation, if you see something that is wrong, there are two possibilities there. Either God is prompting it in your heart, or that is a strength in you, and what you are seeing is not up to standard in your opinion. That's why you see it as a weak. Because other people will just walk by and they don't know that anything is wrong with what has happened. So that's why I always encourage, you know, anytime an observation strikes you like that, don't look for somebody else to correct it. See how you can contribute to the correction. You know, at times people think I want to put them on the spot, but that's not my intention. But that's just the truth. For you to notice that this is really wrong, then it must be that you have strength in that area, and if you were to do it, it will have been better than this. That's why you notice that it is not well done. So when you have observation, please try to be a part of the team that is planning it and make your contribution, you know, so that you give your own support and we can get better at it next time. So the meeting after service, I will be glad to see you seated with us so that we can, you know. Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
what
ma'am.
Pastor just said now is very, very true. I know the children's department has been having some challenges in the administrative part. And Sister Benita has called for people to volunteer, to do this, to do that. She's only one person. She has an assistant, but, you know, they're having some challenges there. I think it was last year, God just prompted it, you know, into my heart to go into the children's department. I'm not a big fan of little kids, but I love them. Babysitting is not my forte. I will take them when they're like 10, 11, 12. With small kids, I'm not very, very good with. And I know that. I know myself. So I prayed on it and prayed on it and prayed on it. I resisted the Holy Spirit. I resisted everything for almost 5 months. So it was 3 weeks ago, I got convicted. And I called Sister Benita. I said, Sister Benita, this has been troubling my heart. I said, I know what my strengths are. I'm very good in administrative work, paperwork, dotting my I's and crossing my T's. She says, oh, Deaconess Kemi, your heaven sent. That is where my struggle is. So as of last week, I yielded to the Holy Spirit. I have joined the children's department, irrespective of what I think. And, you know, I'm just praying to God to give me the grace to just do a very good job, because I know that she needed that help. She was like up to here. She didn't complain to me, but I was just convicted. So what you said is very, very true. You know, if we all stay in our gifting, it will work out.
All right, thank you so much. All right, I think that is it for today. Please, the meeting after service is going to be very, you know, crucial. Who are expected there? You've sent out information, right? Oh. All HODs. Okay, all HODs and people who want to volunteer to help make the Easter program a success. Please, we'll be meeting here immediately after service.